Several years ago, I experienced a transformative vision during a workshop, and that actually sparked my curiosity. I actually started to learn coaching, and then I was very fortunate to work with a coach.
Welcome back to Emotional Healing for Christian Women podcast. I'm so excited today that we have a special guest, Lois, and we have just been going back and forth and finding a convenient and suitable time to do this recording. Because right now Louise is in China and here I am in Victoria, Australia, two different time zones, and that has been a major issue. But come on in. This is a podcast for emotional healing where we discuss faith-led strategies for mental health solutions for Christian women. And I'm so glad that you have tuned in today. So I'm so glad Louise is here. So excited. And I'm just going to ask Louise to please introduce herself, tell us a bit about her story. Today, we're going to really dive into purpose, clarity, how to find purpose as that Christian women and to find fulfillment in it. And Louise is a purpose and clarity coach, and she's going to walk us through all that today. Thank you so much for coming today, Louise. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Marvel, for your invitation. Yeah, I'm really glad that I can support this channel and also to help the Christian women to find their life purpose, which is also my passion. I can also quickly introduce myself. I'm Lois, based in Shanghai. So my business is called Chosen Consulting. So our company will provide the total solution to the leaders in any organization and
Yeah,
also help the people to find their life purpose as well. So today, feel free to ask any questions, and I'm really happy to help and also share my stories.
thank you so much for that introduction, Louise. It's fantastic. I find it really amazing that corporate organizations would embrace um, finding one's purpose and clarity into part of the trainings they provide to their employees. I find that that is really refreshing. I'm not sure of many organizations that have embraced that into their employees' trainings. And um, tell us a little bit, how did you start your company? What inspired you to do that?
Sure. That also links to my own journey to
Yeah.
find my life purpose.
Mm,
Actually, several years ago, I experienced a transformative vision during a workshop,
yeah,
and that actually sparked my curiosity. Um, I actually started to learn coaching, and then I was very fortunate to work with a coach for over 2 years. And during that 2 years, I underwent significant personal growth and discovered my unique gifts, passion, and my true calling. And this realization inspired me to leave my corporate career because I worked in several Fortune 500 companies as HR for 20 years. Now I launched my own business, as I shared just now,
yeah,
because I really discovered this is a fantastic new, journey to start because
yeah,
I really feel so fulfilled to do what I like and to help people to, inspire them to grow.
yeah,
So I developed also a coaching program called Leading from the Inside Out. And this is designed to help those people who want to uncover their purpose. Because I believe once you know your true life purpose, you
yeah,
can, enrich your lives and also the lives around us.
yeah. Wow, that is a very touching story. Thank you for sharing that, Louise. Thanks
Okay.
for sharing your personal journey of discovering your purpose and how it relates to your coaching work in the moment. I wanted to find out from you, is there a connection between your faith and is there any influence of your understanding of your purpose and clarity with what you currently do as a consultant and coach to corporate organizations?
Yeah. So yes, as you know, I'm also Christian.
Yeah,
And I believe God has a specific purpose for everyone.
yes,
And your life purpose does not need to look like anyone else.
sure.
So yeah, so trying to live out a plan that God didn't design for you will always leave you drained. Because I notice many people, they are searching hard and to do something which is not fit for them.
Yeah,
And it will steal your time, energy, and peace because it was never meant for you in the first place. So the more you compare, the more you drift, right? That's why I understand that, and I also feel a bit sad for those people. So I would, really suggest people, especially Christian, to ask God what He's actually called you to focus on.
yeah,
Because nowadays people are overwhelmed by all sorts of, the purpose, the different goals, and
yeah,
also the expectations from different people, right?
yeah,
But you really need to have a focus. And how do you know what do you need to focus on if you don't know your calling, your purpose in your life?
yeah,
So that's why I feel so lucky. I discovered my purpose earlier, and then but I also want to share like my journey wasn't entirely self-directed because I was actually pushed by God, step by step. Because this is not my plan to change my, career. This
yeah,
is actually God's plan. I was simply following His plan and just be obedient.
yeah,
So, yeah. Uh, and when I discovered that this is His plan,
yeah,
at the time, honestly, I don't know what it will look like in the future.
yeah,
But I just need a step of faith to walk on the first step and then let Him lead me, in the next several steps. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, wow, that is so amazing. It's not uncommon for me to hear people, and I'm sure you would share the same feeling, to hear that people will say they stumbled on purpose, like it wasn't what their original plan is, but somehow when they, like you, I like the word you used, transformative. They came to a point, maybe there was this deep discontentment, and then they probably go for a workshop, like you mentioned, or they hear a life coach, or some might even hear their pastors or clergies, or anywhere. It might be a book, it might be a YouTube video, and get them really thinking. But usually there is that element of discontentment with their current state of life, maybe in career or lifestyle. And they go like, this is not sustainable for me. I particularly when I hear a lot of women from the corporate world, which I used to be as well, and go like, it's not allowing for work-life balance, maybe as a mom to parent, or they feel like it's not sustainable. I need to look for something that is sustainable, a kind of work that one feels comfortable, happy doing, feel fulfilled, and can earn an income from, which is very important in that. So thank you for sharing that story. And I'm going to ask you another question now. Um, do you think that having clarity on one's purpose can be connected to emotional healing of any kind of inner child wound? I know that very often people that are quite successful may not recognize that some of the discontentment might be coming from an inner child wound they may have experienced. And suddenly, everything they worked for, every effort they have put into climbing, say, corporate ladder, they just find out that there's still that void inside. Would you, from your experience and from your coaching work, say that there is a connection between clarity and one's purpose and emotional healing?
Yes, definitely. I know it may be a very deep question, but based on my experience, a clear sense of purpose acts as a beacon during challenging times.
Yeah,
When we face difficulties, having a very defined vision of where we want to go always provides us with a reliable anchor. It helps us to navigate through those darkness and remain resilient, even when it feels like our direction is lost. Because in times of crisis, you know, nobody can really tell you what to do. You can only rely on yourself. So knowing your ultimate destination can inspire you to rebuild, even if it means starting anew when the old way no longer serves you. So I believe that this is why the purpose is so important, especially when we are, in a very difficult, challenging emotional state.
yeah. Thank you. From your experience, Louise, what are some common emotional blocks that prevent Christian women from pursuing their purpose?
Yeah. Um, this is a good question because I recently coached several women, and I found there are some
Yeah.
common ones. So, such as perfectionism, lack of courage,
Mm,
or lack of self
mm,
confidence. Those are very common
mm.
emotional obstacles. And that's why I always encourage them, just do it. You are good enough.
I like that you've identified lack of self-confidence um, as a block, emotional block.
Hmm.
I it's it's really interesting to find that that is quite a common block I find in my work as well. And I find also that self-confidence is relative to the season you are in. You might be, for example, a woman might be very confident on her current role in in her job, maybe because she's been on that job for a long time. She understands the process, she understands the policy around it, she has years of experience. But when it comes to pivoting or transitioning to another role, it just feels like the self confidence is very low. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, is it common that self confidence is usually very low at the time you need to transition or pivot or change in pursuing purpose? What have you found?
Yeah, I think that is something I also noticed that most of the women, when they want to really step out of their comfort zone to start
Yes,
something new,
yes.
um, they will have the fear, that fear of failure.
Mm,
Yeah. And that fear will stop them from moving forward. Yeah. So I noticed that maybe, I don't know, maybe men, they can still move on with all kinds of different uncertainties in their mind, but women, they want to make sure everything is ready. You
Yeah.
know, when they feel everything is perfect, then they can move on. Otherwise, they just, wait.
I like the comparison to men. Um, However, I also find that self-confidence is not gender-based. I have found out
Yeah.
sometimes um, in my work, I also support men that just looking to boost their self-confidence, to transition to maybe a new organization or ask for a promotion.
Mm,
And and so yes, I agree that that can be an emotional block for women. I also agree that can be an emotional block for men as well.
yeah.
Yeah, it's both genders that experience that at the point of transitioning into something new. Um, so let me ask, Louise, how can Christian women trust God's plan for their lives when they are struggling with uncertainty?
Yeah. To be honest, in the modern world, we call it, VUCA or bilingual, right? Where there is there are so many uncertainties.
Mm,
There is not a time anymore when you can foresee what will happen in the next few years or even next few months.
mm. COVID taught
That's
us
why,
that, isn't it?
yeah, that is the new norm. So in the moments of uncertainty, it's natural to feel overwhelmed.
Mm,
Yeah. So I remind people to really trust God, who is the only, certain thing, right?
mm.
And and this is the only certain truth you can trust.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I really like the one Bible verse. It is Rome 8:28.
yeah.
We know
Romans?
that all Roman 8:28.
Yes.
I can read that.
Yeah,
That is, we know that all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purpose.
yes.
I really love this one because even though some of the things happening now is really painful,
Mm,
but we trust that God has the best plan, right? And that He will make all things work together. And if
good.
you have that belief, then you don't worry. Yeah.
Correct. You're so correct. As you were speaking, I just thought about Esther. You know the story of Esther, where Mordecai encouraged her to go and approach the king and have a conversation around the impending judgment on the Jews at the time. And initially, Esther was hesitant because of the process, the protocol. She was like, I can't face the king unless I am invited. And Mordecai told her, who knows why you're a queen at such a time as this? And she said, okay, go tell Mordecai, my uncle, I'm going to pray and fast for 3 days. Do the same thing in your end. And at the end, I'm going to approach the king. And this is one phrase that I would like everyone to live with. And Queen Esther said, if I perish, I perish. Um, the truth of the matter is, there would always be the fear of the unknown at a time we are pivoting or transitioning to embracing purpose. We will never feel comfortable to take the leap. We will never feel So, addressing perfectionism, a perfectionist would spend time waiting and waiting, and there would never be the right time to take the leap and the jump. But those that do take the leap have found it very rewarding. And if I can speak to anyone's fear this in today's show, is that um I think Esther gave us a blueprint. She said, I'm going to pray and fast for 3 days. And I'll just encourage Christian women, do the same. Esther has given a blueprint. Pray and fast, read God's word, seek his face, and, you know, I'm confident God will speak to you. And it's interesting how God began to arrange situations. All of a sudden, I think it was the first day of fast, King Ahasuerus has a dream. He's walking around in the midnight and goes through the history book in the palace and finds out that the uncle Mordecai had rescued him from a coup. And he was beginning to think, was this man rewarded? Like, just imagine. I think that is also answers to prayer because things began to align. Situations.
Mm.
God just stirred King Ahasuerus' mind. He became sleepless. He started reading the book of history and found out that Mordecai had been kind to him and started thinking, how can I reward Mordecai? You know, how come it is in those 3 days of prayer and fasting that King Ahasuerus had the prompt to start reading about the history, right? God works in amazing ways. When we put our feet forward and say, God, I'm going to do your purpose for my life. And I believe most women, it's not like they don't know what they are supposed to be doing in this season. I believe a lot of women already have an idea. But like you rightly said, I think a lot of women are just afraid of the fear of the unknown. If I do what I think my heart is telling me to do, like Queen Esther was worried, I might just get killed if I show up before the king and he didn't invite me, right? So it wasn't like she didn't know, because again, Mordecai had encouraged her to go and do it. But she was like, I stand the risk of death here. So many of us are very well aware of the risk around the step to fulfill purpose. So I think that is usually where there is the block. Like, where am I going to get my next income? For example, if I am feeling like I should leave my job and start a business, for example, and but we also see how I think that Esther got the strategy of having that conversation with the king during the time she was waiting. The strategy was invite the king to a banquet, a dinner, right? She didn't just go the second time and go like, King, did you know that the second in command, Haman, has planned to do da 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 da? She invited the king to a dinner. You know, I believe when we spend time seeking the face of God, praying, also fasting and reading, and also seeking godly counseling and coaching, maybe from myself or from Lois, and getting more clarity, that God can start giving you divine strategies. That is so important. It's not about copying other people's strategies because other people's strategies may not work for you. I'm
That's true.
confident you agree with me, Louise. Other people's strategies may not work for you because, like you rightly said, your purpose has a unique DNA on you. And if we really lean in and trust God, He will give us strategies on how to transition, what to do. I like to call it divine intelligence, like divine intelligence downloaded on your mind, maybe as you're meditating. And it's going to come in very simple instructions, nothing like mushy, wedu. instructions like, oh, get up, my daughter, go do this. No, it might just be, oh, ring your friend who works in such and such organization. It might just be, oh, send a thank you note to your colleague who you worked with in the previous team. It might just be, oh, send an email to your former dean or lecturer that, oh, this is now what you do. Or it might also even be post something on your socials. Hey guys, this is a course I just finished. I'm so excited. And someone might see it and go like, oh, did you just finish that course? We need someone with that skill. Are you happy to come and do something for us in our organization? So as if we follow the Queen Esther's blueprint, I'm confident God can give us divine strategies. Download it. Really simple instructions that are within your capacity to enforce. Nothing way out of your capacity. God is kind like that. He doesn't lead his children to complex strategies and steps that you just feel overwhelmed and just abandon the whole idea. I mean, what good would that be to him? Because he actually is an encouraging father. He will lead us through baby steps and go like, do this, do that. And here is the last thing before I ask you another question is we're going to find that when we start getting results from the baby step, oh, one organization calls you to come and do a presentation, for example, and you get paid for it. You go like, oh, this is working. It helps to create momentum and you're encouraged to continue in that sense of direction. Yeah. Um, I just thought to share that Queen Esther's blueprint for seeking purpose and clarity around around that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing Esther's story. And I really, really resonate, the whole journey of Esther. And I also want to supplement, I think, the two things I experienced personally. The first is about, you know, being loved by God,
Yeah.
because the Bible said there is no fear in love.
Yeah.
So if you are fully immersed in His love, the
Yeah.
fear will be gone.
Mm.
And another belief I had when I started my own transition to the new journey,
Yeah.
the belief I have is, if this is something you called me to do, and then I
Mhm.
believe you will provide.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, that's, I think, the belief I hold until today. Yeah.
You're completely correct. I also believe that God does provide for a vision. So I don't believe that, for example, someone gets a a vision to run a business or something, and then they go about stressing everybody in their lives to come and contribute money or contribute some resources to make that vision happen. And then they pick offenses, for example, if the people, their friends or family members, don't contribute financially to that vision. I don't believe in that. I usually redirect people like that. If God has called you to do this, trust Him, He's going to provide. That's the kind of God that we serve. Yeah. So don't go about stressing everybody out to come and contribute.
You're right.
It's okay if you can ask, but don't make it like manipulate them and make them feel guilty if they don't contribute to your vision. When God calls you into a space and a purpose, He will provide a human resource, He will
Mm,
provide a financial resource, He will
mm,
provide all kinds of resource to make
yeah.
it happen. And things will be aligned for you. And all just so you can feel encouraged. to take the step and obey Him. Because when we obey God and live in our purposes, we glorify God, really. We also encourage other people that are observing to do the same. And it just goes around, right? You're
Yeah.
doing your purpose, I'm doing my purpose,
Mm.
and we're all connected. I like to tell the audience how I met Lewis. It's interesting because Lewis and I met in Faith Entrepreneurship online group, isn't it? And
Yeah.
where we just shared our faith from a business and our businesses. Louis, if you want to talk about that, I just felt we should talk about that because um, when we are all centered in the purpose of God, God has a way of connecting us with ourselves, with our
Mm.
tribe. If you can speak a bit about that, because that's very encouraging.
Sure. I think, yeah, I really also appreciate that um, interesting connection
Yeah,
because at that time I was looking for uh, people like me who are
yeah,
Christian, who are
yeah,
Christian entrepreneurs,
yeah,
where we can share the same challenges and because we also share the same faith.
yeah,
Then Mama and I met in that group,
yeah,
and then I remember one of the group members is sharing some of his challenges
yeah,
as he is also looking for a new transition, but he has, no direction.
yeah,
And then I I was like I remember Marvel shared so much good experience of you, right? How
yeah,
you transitioned and how you tackled all those challenges. And I
yeah,
remember that that's exactly what I'm doing right at that moment because I already have designed that program to help people to find their life purpose. And I
yeah,
was also sharing with this brother that if you have that, challenge, you can contact me because I am doing this and I personally benefited from that program. And
yeah,
this is why, like, I think Marvel knows what I'm doing. So I
yes,
think this is exactly a divine connection.
absolutely. I remember when you shared that you were a life coach in that group, and you said that your niche was around providing clarity for purpose. I think the connection happened instantly in my mind. Like, yeah, I think I would like to connect with Louise and learn more about what she does. And we're sharing this story because when we step into God's purpose, God has ways of connecting us to people that are in our tribe and connecting you so you will never really travel alone. And this might be an encouragement to any woman out there. Feel like, where am I going to get my support network? Who is going to be in my corner to cheer me? I just want to encourage that God has already positioned people on your journey. You may not see them from where you are now. Who knows, they might be on Facebook group pages. By the way, I just opened a Facebook group for women. I'll leave the link in the show down and where we can support one another. And I just want to say that don't let all your ducks be all arranged in the row before you step out. God is waiting on you. God is waiting on us all to answer the callings, to be the version of the woman He wants us to be in this season. Women that are anchored in their trust in God, which informs their self confidence. women that are showing up for their community, not necessarily from perfection, but from purpose, right?
Mm. Yep.
They, if I can use the word, women that are failing forward. They are learning on the journey, they are making the adjustments, and they are still moving. They are not perfect, and they are still saying, Yes, Lord, yes, Lord. Yeah, and that's been fantastic. This is what I'm going to say for today's session. Before I let you go, Louise, do you have any parting words for our audience today? Any parting words to just encourage a sister out there who has listened to the podcast and is saying, ah, I love everything. What more, one more thing can I walk away with?
Yeah, I think I want to maybe encourage those women who are still struggling now, either emotionally or in their career, life, business, and still having no clarity on the direction, or still waiting, or still, dealing with their own fears. I want to say that you are not alone. Many women have experienced similar struggles.
Yes.
So don't be afraid to reach out. Yeah. So you can reach to Marvel, you can reach to me, and let's learn from each other and support each other.
Yeah. And
And
Louise, how can
yeah.
people reach you? What's your contact for people to reach you on?
Yeah. So I know that your audience is from everywhere, so you can, if you have the access to LinkedIn, you can search
LinkedIn.
me by name Lois Sun,
Okay.
LOISSUN, and
Okay.
you can find me through that LinkedIn link. But if you are in China, I know people have no access to LinkedIn. You
Yeah.
can also add me via WeChat, because we use WeChat, and my WeChat
Yes.
ID is Coach Lois.
Yeah.
So yeah, just feel free to add me, and we can connect from there. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your heart this today. What time is it for you, Louise, back in China?
Now it's 10:11 in China.
PM?
AM.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's good. Um, and this is about 12 here in Victoria, Australia. And thank you so much for sharing your heart, for having this conversation. I'm confident a lot of women will find it helpful. I think the subject of purpose and clarity is something everyone could use. Every one of us on earth, everybody needs more clarity on their purpose, to be honest. Everybody's just doing what they think they know to do best now and still figuring out their ways around it. So if you're listening, don't feel ashamed, don't feel embarrassed that, oh, you're having conversations around clarity and purpose at this age. There is nothing to be ashamed about. There is nothing to feel embarrassed about. In fact, I'll encourage you to take this as God speaking to you, confirming, creating a witness in your heart that that prompting you're getting, that idea, it's time to move with it. It's time to act on it. And it's time to fail forward if you may, but just get started and doing what God wants you to do. Um, thank you, Louise. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we say bye bye to everyone listening?
Not anymore. Just I'm really appreciative for this opportunity to speak to those people who are listening, who are
Yeah.
searching for their life purpose. And yeah, God bless you and God loves you.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope this blessed you. If it does, I'm going to leave a lot of links on the show notes, links to the Facebook group, links to contact me and contact Lois, and do check them out. And I do want to say that my book, Beyond the Hurt, is out. Yay. And I'm so excited about it. It's available on my website. You can also get a hard copy on Amazon. Beyond the Hurt is my story. It's the story, and I just shared a lot of blueprints of how I had just went through my own emotional journey and got clarity, got purpose, and healed my inner wounds. And here is what I do now as a psychotherapist. And I'm so excited about that. So until the next episode, please link in, watch other episodes, and I'm confident you'll find them very helpful. Thank you for listening in. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.